My brothers and sisters in Christ, welcome to Living Strong. And we're going to go ahead and get started in the book of Genesis, chapter number 47, fastest 30 minutes, and verse number 27. And this is kind of a little bit sad here, but it's the way the story goes. After the 7 years of famine, Jacob's last wish was to get back and be buried in the right place and everything else. And Joseph set up and took care of the land and made sure that the people who came in and bought and sold according to the law that Pharaoh had set forth. But you'll see in 47 and 11, and Joseph placed his father and his brethren and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren and all his father's household with bread according to their families. And verse number 27, Genesis 47, and Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt in the country of Goshen, and they had possession therein, and grew and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the whole of Jacob was 147 years. And the time drew nigh that Israel must die. And he called his son Joseph and said unto him, If now I have found grace in thy sight, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and deal kindly and truly with me. Bury me not, I pray thee, in Egypt. So he have his burial request. But I will lie with my fathers, and thou shalt carry me out of Egypt and bury me in their burial place. And he said, I will do as thou hast said. And he said, Swear unto me. And he sware unto him, and Israel bowed himself upon the bed, his head. I think I spoke about that last time. Jacob now is coming in. And the blessings are going to be to Joseph's two sons. And this is before he goes on, okay? He's going to die later on, all right? And it came to pass after those things that one told Joseph, Behold, thy father is sick, and he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And one told Jacob and said, Behold, thy son Joseph coming unto thee. And Israel strengthened himself and sat up on his bed. And Jacob said unto Joseph, God Almighty appeared unto me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me, and said unto me, Behold, I will make thee fruitful and multiply thee, and I will make of thee a multiplied people, and will give this land to thy seed after thee for a everlasting possession. And now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt, before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine, and Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. And thy issue, which thou begettest after them, shall be thine, and shall be called after the name of their brethren in their inheritance. So he's blessing them before he go, because bowed upon his head, meaning sleep, and at the same time he's going to bow his head later on. He's going to be gone. But we're going to see where Jacob is blessing Ephraim and Manasseh. And we're going on to a little bit further in verse number 7 in Genesis 48. And as for me, when I came from Padan, Rachel died. He's given the story. By me in the land of Canaan, in the way when yet there was but a little way to come unto Ephrath. That's another land. And I buried her there in the way of Ephrath. The same is Bethlehem, Ephrath of Bethlehem. And Israel, behold, Joseph's son, and said, who are these? And Joseph said unto his father, these are my son whom God hath given me in this place. Now watch this. Here it comes. Living with loving me. And he said, bring them, I pray thee, unto me, and I will bless them. What does God do? He bless you with favor when you walk in uprightness before him. Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he could not see, and he brought them near unto him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said unto Joseph, I had not thought to see thy face, and lo, God hath showed me also thy seed. Now look at this. Not only did I want to see you, Joseph, but I wanted to see, God have blessed me to also see your children. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees and bowed himself with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand towards Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near unto him. Now watch what's getting ready to happen. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hand wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, God, before whom my fathers Abraham, here it comes, and Isaac did walk, the God which fed me all my life long unto this day. So what is he doing? He's speaking an inheritance blessing upon them. May you live long. May your children live long. And so he's sort of crossing his hand and blessing the younger first, which is a representation that the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Look at this. The angel which redeemed me from all evil. What happens? When you walk in God's will, he gives his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. And let my name be on them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. So he's speaking what God have really showed him. You see, what he's promised unto Abraham and Isaac. Now Jacob, which is Israel, wrestled with God. And God is now returning it, because he's saying out of the 12 tribes are going to come a great nation. And Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim. It displeased him, and he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head unto Manasseh's head. And Joseph said unto his father, not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. You see it there? Look at this. And his father refused. Why? Because he's following the Spirit of God. He's following the will of God. You see, God's way is not our ways, and his thoughts are not our thoughts, but even higher. Now, a lot of this, I'm not going to be able to read because we got to climax this, but I'm going to get to his death, okay? Here it goes. He goes on to say, his father refused. I know it, my son. I know it. Look at what he's saying. He's saying, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. And he blessed them that day, saying, in thee shall Israel bless, shall Israel bless, saying, God make thee as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And he set Ephraim before Manasseh. And Israel said unto Joseph, behold, I die. You see it there? Even when he bowed his head, he's alive, but he's dying. He's just as dead now, so he's saving that last blessing. But God shall be with you and bring you again unto the land of your fathers. What is God saying? No matter where you go in life, I'm going to be with you and bring you into the place of promise. Many of us and many people don't even know the heritage or the inheritance of their fathers. What did your father leave you? Nothing. Why? Papa was a rolling stone. Ow, ow, ow. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. What? No. See, you have an eternal inheritance, an invisible inheritance, as well as a life, watch this, DNA, mother, father, sister, uncle, brother, all that is still naturally inherited. You may not see it. You may be in a place to where you've lost everything. They've taken everything, just like the little old woman down in Savannah. Where is it? Beaufort or somewhere down there. On the islands, Hilton Head Island, somewhere down there, a little old black lady. And the celebrities and everybody fighting for her. They're trying to take the last. We're not going to get into that. But God has a promise that he have left unto you and I, which is yea and amen. Don't give up on the fight. Don't give up in the midst. Oh, we got to move on, y'all. We have got to move on. Joseph is a little bit upset, but Jacob said, I know what I'm doing. And he said, and where am I at now? I'm a little bit, I guess we're running on into chapter number 49, but I want to finish up in 48 and in verse number 22. Moreover, I have given to thee one portion above thy brethren, which I took out of the hand of the Amorite, and with my sword and with my bow. See, Israel said unto Joseph, behold, I die, but God shall be with you and bring you again unto the land of your fathers. So there's a promise that is yet to come forth. And when you look at Israel, I don't want to talk about that right now really because of everything that's happening over there and the situation that's going on in the land. It's troublesome. But he's saying, you're going to be established. You're going to be a great nation. And that's really what Israel is today. Chapter number 49, and Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Now, my God, I don't like none of this really. I really don't like this part here. Gather yourselves together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and hear and hearken unto Israel your father. He began to name them off. Reuben, thou my firstborn, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. Do you see what he's saying? My firstborn, that's who you are. Strength, power. That's Reuben. That's what you are, the excellency of it. All right? Unstable as water. You know, you may be good and powerful, but guess what? You know, you really can't be, Reuben, you got a double-minded. You're unstable in all your ways. What is God doing? Once God began to teach you how to love yourself, he revealed unto you who you really are. That truth you're going to know, and what that truth is going to do is set you free. And that's what's happening. Unstable as water. In verse number 4, Genesis 49, thou shalt not excel because thou wentest unto thy father's footbed. Now, we're not going to get into this because I don't want to talk about this. Because it's not a good thing to talk about. But Jacob said, Reuben, look, you're my oldest one. You slick as oil, boy. You got a good head on your shoulder. But you know what it is? You unstable as water and you're dirty. See, because you went in and smooshed up something that you wasn't supposed to smoosh up. You went in and smooched, my wife, come on now. You did an ancestral, low-down, dirty thing. You crossed the line. All right? Then defile is that it, he went up to my couch. Now, my brothers and sisters in Christ, this is why the world is in so much devastation today. Everything is almost like it's a Hollywood figure or something. I went to a place to receive some information. And there was a lady in there that had on gloves. And in her gloves, she had fingernails. And I had never paid this stuff no attention, really. And it's been everywhere, and I had to really open my eyes to see. But her fingernails were like swords or scissors or cat claws, and they stuck through the glove. And I said, whoa. I said, my God, you got claws on your hand. And I said, what kind of fingernails are those? And she fell out laughing. I mean, she fell out laughing. And I noticed that they now have fingernails that comes up, and you say, Prophet Johnson, where you been? I'm just finding this stuff out, y'all. That comes up in a sharp, like the claws of cats. And I'm looking everywhere and seeing this stuff on television. I'm like, wow, this stuff really exists. Because I hadn't seen it before. All I know is fingernails are round, polished, pretty, you know. But now they got black cat claws and red. And some of them are long, like an inch long. So how can a woman cook in that? How can she even eat with those things on? She don't need a knife to cut a hamburger. She can take her fingernail and just cut it and cut it and cut it and then just lick off the little mayonnaise and mustard and she's through. So it's amazing to see the transformation that is taking place. So what you're having now is a situation to where he's crossed the line. So when you live with loving yourself, you've got to understand that you hold a standard in life. And you don't cross that standard and turn to the weak and beggarly elements of this world, regardless of how you feel inside, how you feel emotionally or personally. Don't you know it wasn't just Reuben's fault? The lady had something to do with it too. Now, come on, Jacob. Her little fast hot tail was behind the scene too. And that's all there is to it. But I can only say one thing. I'm afraid of those women with those claws. Because could you imagine if you make them mad? They could scratch you like Catwoman, and they can cut you up like the Wolverine. Oh, no, 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 no. You give them a hug, they stick their finger in your back. You can't move. Stick it on your back of your butt, you sure coming closer. Please. He goes on, he named his sons, and I don't want to get into all this, but this is really living with loving men. I'm trying to climax this week, y'all. I'm so trying. Simeon and Levi are brethren, instruments of cruelty. See, Jacob is telling them the truth before he died. See, in this life, you got to deal with the truth of who you are before you go. And the Lord said, telling me, just go ahead and give it to him. So I'm just going to give it to y'all. We might not finish it up today, but we'll catch it up tomorrow night because we're going to get to his death. He goes on and says, you guys are dirty. You really are the one that sold out Joseph. You really are. Simeon, But see, these are God's 12 tribes. And even with all of that, they are still in the kingdom with God because they're chosen and were forgiven by God, but they had to come to themselves. How do you come to yourself? When you have someone in your life that can tell you the truth, even if it hurts. And that's what's wrong with us as parents. We cannot tell our children the truth. You see, we got to cater to their spirit, cater to them demons that they raising up, them mental health issues that they bring in. If you say this to me or that to me, then I'm going to throw a tantrum and I'm going to cry, or I'm going to have a mental breakdown, or I'm going to think about committing suicide, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that if you don't buy me no shoes, or whatever y'all is that we do. You know, just sitting in a restaurant recently here, outside of a little place where I had to, retrieve a person and take them to their destination. I sat in this little Waffle House restaurant, and make a long story short, I had a little T-bone steak and, eggs and, hash brown. It all was feasible. T-bone stringer, it comes the size of a quarter. You buy it, it's a 50 cents piece in thickness. It's not even a half an inch. It's a half of a half of a half an inch. But anyway, I suffered through all of that. And here's the thing about it. There was a little Hispanic boy in there. And his mother and his father was in there. And this little boy in this restaurant raised more hell than the whole city of Garden City, raised more hell than the whole airport division. And the Lord said to me, ignore, listen. And I glanced just a little bit. And I looked, and I see it in many of them. I see it in many of them little Hispanic. I call them all Mexicans. They were so spoiled. That little boy was no more than about 2 or 3 years old, and he cried and tore that place up. They had video games in front. The daddy getting up, walking around, the whole 9 yards. And you know what I said to myself, and y'all already know what I said, black folks. White folks, y'all know it too. I said they need to take that little joker in that bathroom and tie that little hind end up and skin that little hind end. I said that daddy need to get a switch and tie that tail up. You see what I'm saying? Tore up the whole restaurant. Hollered. Even to you where you couldn't even hear the music. And you know what quieted him down? Whatever he wanted. You see, you got to know the truth so that the truth can set you free. My sheep know my voice, said the Lord, and a stranger they will not adhere. What do? We listen to the voice of strangers all our lives. Strangers of in-laws, outlaws, families. Those are strangers. You see, who is my mother? Who is my father? Who is my sister? Who is my brother? You think it's from your family? That's your sister? That's your brother? That's your mother? That's your father? No! That is your DNA connection. Your sister and your brother and your father and your mother is the one that does the will of God. And if they're not doing the will of God, they're just your earthly family connection. You better find out who your brothers and sisters are. Because I found out who mine was. And I found out that mine didn't have nothing to do with God. Except 1 or 2. And they ain't got too much to do with me with God. Ooh. Verse number 6. Oh, my soul, come not thou into their secret. What is he saying? He's saying, I'm holding myself back from telling what dirt y'all done did. Don't you know I've been watching you since you was born? Children, don't you know that your mother and father been watching you since you was born? My mother said to me, Scott, I know you like a book. And I said to myself, Satan have never revealed such a greater lie to a parent. You think you know me like a book. You see, you know me as the fool to give everything to you that you ever asked for. That's what you know about me. But as far as my bastard rise, as far as my hurt, my pain, my feelings, my emotions, my love for God, you have no idea who your son is. You see, you know your children. You see, it hurts to know the truth about children, and you keep it and you cover for them. You cover for that no good son. You cover for that lying daughter. You cover for that stealing child. And you know what you're doing. You're only revealing unto them who you are. And they will continue to take advantage of it until they become just like you. Unto their assembly mine honor, be not thou united, for in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. God is saying, Jacob is saying, Father, have mercy on my sons. I know they ain't no good, but I've got to come to you. And I've got to live with loving me before it's all over. And if I could set one example, even get the blessing of Joseph, even as I blessed Pharaoh, then shall it not be blessed. You got the power to bless Israel. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper that love thee. You got the power to bless the president of the United States. Pray for those leaders that are over thee. You see, not their stuff. Oh, God, help us all, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Not this stuff that they do when they open up the Congress and sit up there and read off a script. Oh, Lord of heaven and earth, thy gracious mercy be upon this lying Congress of the United States of America that is divided by hatred and racism and envy and jealousy and government shutdown and deception and lying of Israel and Hamas and those that are in Ukraine and Russia and those that are in Taiwan and those that are in China. Will you please, oh Father of heaven of mercy, you see what I mean? Come on, this fakeology ain't doing it. When you pray for the peace of Jerusalem, they shall prosper that love thee. The American connection to Jerusalem in Israel is God. God is the reason why we love Israel. God is the reason why we bless Israel. God is. So Israel was dirty from the beginning. His sons was dirty. So shut up and talk it all you want. Genesis 16 tell us that who is that? Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Abraham, Ishmael. That Ishmael and Isaac was going to be fighting, and Ishmael was going to be a wild ass, a wild hunter. No man can tame him. The word is spoken on Palestine. It is spoken on Ishmael. So we already know that Jerusalem, Israel, Isaac, we already know that this battle is going to be all the way to Jesus come and set it straight. So what's going to happen now? What's going to happen now is nothing but a continuance, ongoing, for a solution of peace through death and destruction. You see. Verse number 7, Genesis 49, cursed be their anger. What? Anger can curse you. Don't let anger curse you. Forgive those who have angered you, because what he's saying, because you are raising hell, because you are angry. Now you are mad as hell and you're going to go out and kill somebody. And guess what? They're going to kill you too. You angry because you're going to do something to somebody. Somebody took your boyfriend. Somebody took your girlfriend. There you are, cannot sleep, staying awake at night, eating 3 chickens, a half of a pizza, and a whole roll of what? Tuna fish sandwiches or something. Who knows what what you're doing? But you're trying to eat pain and misery. And you're angry at your mother or your father. So what do they do? They're breathing into you. Stress. Where your headaches coming from? Why do you think you have these symptoms of tumor? Why do you think you got hypertension and you're stressing? Your body is tense. You cannot even sleep at night because you're holding resentment and anger on the inside. And God is saying you've got to release that. You've got to let it go. Peace be still. A part of your healing and living with loving you, you've got to forgive those who have despitefully used you, who have misused you, who have scattered and destroyed your name. Do not live with anger, resentment, and unforgiveness in your heart, because it is as the sin of rebellion and the sin of witchcraft that leads into perdition and into hell. He's saying, in their wrath, verse number 7, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Boy, Judah, here it comes. Thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. In closing, this is Judah. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Black folks, this is where you are. This is what happened to you. Let me show you. In closing, 15 seconds. Verse number 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. What do y'all do? Don't y'all praise God? Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Have you not been slaves forever? Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. That's going to be my time. I'd like to thank you for yours. Fastest 30 minutes, already come and gone your way. Living with, loving me. We'll pick it up tomorrow night. Y'all have a good night. Bye.